everyone, welcome back to my channel. It has been a while. This is going to be a quick one. So today we're doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I always get that name wrong, but I'm pretty sure I did it right. And we're going to do it pretty quick because basically I procrastinated filming this video and now everyone's coming home. So I have about 15 minutes to do this. So no pressure. It has been a while since I filmed and I'm sorry. So the last thing I did was Becca's Bookopoly and I was like, I'm going to come back. And then I didn't. Because I just could not find the motivation to sit down and film. I didn't know what I wanted to film, and now I'm like, well, it's the middle of the year, so I can do this. So that's good. I'm in the middle of like 2 different vlogs, and I have not posted either of them because I haven't been reading, and you need to read in order to film reading vlogs. And then also, I did film like 1 or 2 videos, and then I deleted them because it was like, I did like my May wrap up and my like June TBR, and then I never edited them, and I was like, you know what, I don't think I'm gonna edit these ever. So usually tags are pretty easy to edit because I sometimes don't ramble on forever. I mean, I'm rambling right now, but we're gonna hope for the best. This is my 3rd time doing this tag because this is like my first video, which, speaking of which, I will be doing the booktube birthday tag soon. Let's just get straight on into it. So the very first question is the best book that you read this year. I have actually, it's weird because none of these books I'm like, oh my god, they were like, you know, new favorite books of all time. Like both of these, I only had 2 5-stars so far this year, and I read like 50 something books. No, I haven't. I've read 63, I think. But I've only actually had 2 5-star books, and even then I wouldn't classify these as like new favorite all-time books. Yes, they're 5 stars and I do really enjoy them, but they're not like new, always gonna recommend, always like a brand new favorite. And so that is Near the Bone by Christina Henry and Gallant by V. Schwab. Gallant by V. Schwab, it follows this house, and Olivia, she is in this school for girls, and she gets this letter from her uncle saying that Gallant is her home and that she's welcome there. She goes, and it turns out that that letter is years late and her uncle is dead. There's this weird house. The vibes in this book were so good, and I did give this 5 stars, and I do have a vlog about this. And I also actually read River of Silver, which is short stories from Davidbad, and I gave that a 4.5 stars, so like a little shout out to that there, and also a little shout out to Fool's Assassin, which I also gave 4.5 stars. So they were like really close and I did really enjoy them, but they didn't quite get the 5 star. And then Near the Bone was also a 5 star, obviously, and this one, it follows a young woman in the mountains, and she has a husband and he is very abusive towards her, and then there's strange people have come to their mountain, and there's also like maybe strange creatures there as well. And I really enjoy this. It really surprised me, and I don't know why it surprised me so much because I read Lost Boy by Christina Henry and I have also given that 5 stars. I really enjoyed that, so I don't know why I was surprised by this. It was like really addictive. Her writing style is like so easy to get into. I really felt for the characters, and even though I don't think I was especially afraid for Matty, the main character, I was like, I'm pretty sure she's going to be like okay, or maybe the better word would be alive at the end of the book. But I felt afraid for all of the side characters. I felt like she could and would kill any of them, so I like when there's stakes. Then best sequel, again, this was kind of a struggle because both of those, neither of them are sequels. And I mean, again, I could kind of say River of Silver, but that's like an anthology and some of them aren't really sequels. Only a couple of them are actually set after the series. I could also say Fool's Assassin because it's like a sequel to The Realm of the Elderlings, but it's the first book in a new series, so I also can't really say that. So then I had to go looking at my 4-star reads, and so I actually haven't read a lot of sequels this year, so I'm kind of balancing between 2, and that's basically any of the Murderbot Diaries books. I think the 4th one was my favorite so far, and I'll put the picture of that one specifically. And I gave that 4 stars, and it's weird because I've given all of them 4 stars, but somehow it's like I still like, oh, it's like a favorite series, but all of them are 4 stars. They're just like really solid. I really enjoy them. And then the other one I will mention is The Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan. I read the first one in the Heroes of Olympus in April, and I didn't really like it that much. I gave it 3 stars. It didn't have Percy in it. It felt lacking to me. And then I picked this up and I flew through this. I read this in like a day or 2, and yeah, as I said, I ate it up. I had such a good time with it. It was a really high 4 stars, but I had a couple of issues with it that didn't quite get to that 5-star. Then the next one is a new release you haven't read yet that you want to, and I can't really think of any. Looking at my anticipated list, a lot of the stuff in there I have read that I wanted to, or it hasn't come out. I will say, so the only two I can kind of say is The Last Graduate, which yes, technically came out last year, but the paperback only came out in May. So like, it wasn't that long ago that the paperback came out. I now own it. I forgot to bring it over. But so that one, and then also I also had Discord of Gods / House of Always on my anticipated list because House of Always, the paperback came out, and again, I own that. I still haven't finished Memory of Souls. I've been reading it since February and I've put it on hold. I think I'm gonna have to go from the start. I'm about 100 pages in. I think I'm gonna have to reread from the start when I eventually get to it. But I do want to read that entire series because I really, really enjoy it. But I'm just afraid of it. And most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So a lot of them, again, I have the list in front of me. A lot of them have been pushed back. So Chain of Thorns has been pushed back until next year. Babel / Babel, I don't know. I mean, I'm not super excited for it. I'm like intrigued though. Then Luminaries by Susan Dennard. That's probably the one I'll go with. And then, because again, like a load of ones that I was like, maybe will that come out this year? I think the Dreamers trilogy final book might, but again, I gave the second book in that actually 2 stars, so I'm not that excited for it, but I do want to get to it. And then Threads of Power isn't coming out until next year, and S.A. Chakraborty's pirate book, kind of like thought maybe this year, but it's gonna be next year, I think, for both of those. Biggest disappointment? Don't think I have one that's like really disappointing to me. Again, another one I didn't bring over, kind of Spellslinger. Like, it was a solid YA fantasy. It was 3 stars. Also, The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. But also, I didn't actually have that high expectations because like really dense, wordy, classic fantasy sometimes just doesn't do it for me. I think for this, I'm gonna say The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker. I read the first and second one with Cassidy, Mel, Jade, and Ro. A lot of us dropped out before the end. I still haven't read the final book, but I do own it, so I think I will get to it eventually because I hate myself. And I read this, I gave it 3 stars. I was like, there's potential, but it wasn't fully, you know, giving me all that depth that I wanted. It was just holding me back. And so I would probably actually go with more of the second book because I was like, okay, in the second book, he's going to develop all this stuff that he laid the groundwork for in this book. And then he didn't do that at all. And I really hated that second book. I gave it 2 stars. And I will leave like the live shows for the first and second book linked down below. They're both on Cassidy's channel, but I did not enjoy the series. So I'm gonna go with that. Biggest surprise, I think I'm gonna go with One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is it's not like full romance. It's about a woman who her like high school love died and was presumed dead, and she has just started to move on with her life. She has a new fiance, and then the old husband turns up and he's not dead, and it's about her having to choose between these 2 men who are extremely important in her life. And I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. Again, it was a really solid 4 stars. I read the audiobook. It was so good. And I ate it. I think I listened to it in one day. I think it was one evening. I was like cleaning my room or something, and I just flew through it all. I had a great time with it. I really enjoyed it. And I know that kind of like her earlier stuff doesn't get talked about as much as like, you know, Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's my second favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid after Evelyn Hugo. So that's good. Favorite new author? For this, I'm gonna go with Caitlin Doty. I watched her YouTube videos a while back, but I never actually subscribed to her. And then I think it was her JFK video once again showed up, and I was like, oh my god, I remember her. And then I had heard a couple of people talk about her books, like Paperback Dreams and Nat from Nerdy Nat Reads. Nat loves her books. And I kind of just decided, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna give them a go. And so I bought this one with a gift card that I had, and I read it in like a day or 2. And then I got this one for my birthday off Christy, so thanks Christy. And I really enjoyed both of these, and I've also listened to the audiobook of the other one, Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? And again, I will probably buy that at some point. But yeah, so I really enjoyed both of these. I highly recommend, and I'm looking forward to if she ever puts out something else. I hope she will. And newest fictional crush, we're gonna skip past. New favorite character. There's not a load of new characters that have like really stuck with me this year. You know, like Kieran, I read the first book in that last year. And yeah, so I don't really have like one. Actually, Murderbot. I'm gonna go with Murderbot. I love Murderbot. He is so funny. And his sarcasm, he wants to just sit down and watch TV, which is relatable. A book that made you cry. I don't think I cried at any book this year. I'm not usually a big book crier anyway, but usually there's one or two that like gets me kind of emotional. But for this one, I don't think there was. I'm like looking through all of my previous months and I don't think there is. Actually, okay, I reread the Shades of Magic series and I did cry during A Conjuring of Light, despite the fact it was like my 4th time reading it, and yet I was crying. I did not cry the first time I read that book, and yet this time I was, so. I usually try not to talk about rereads in this, but I think that's the only thing I cried at, so we'll go with that. A book that made me happy, again, can I say my reread of Shades of Magic? I don't think there's a book that made me like really happy. I mean, despite the morbid, these did make me laugh a good few times. Yeah. I don't know. I am currently reading The Trials of Morgan Crow, and I did laugh out loud a couple of times so far, and I'm only really early into it. I'm sure that there's something that I'm missing, and if I remember something, I will put it up, but I can't remember. I'm a very sad person this year. Oh, maybe Radiance by Grace Draven. Also, that would fit in for the surprising read. I did that for my reading fantasy romance vlog, and I ate that book up. I ate it up. I was so surprised because I had like the least expectations about that one because it was the one I had heard the least about. And yeah, I had such a good time with that book. So that also made me happy. Like, and it made me laugh a good few times. So I'll go with that. Most beautiful book I have bought or received this year. I have 3. So I bought this. I read this last year. I love the covers for them. I don't know. There's something about them that I really like. So I don't really like the whole matte texture, but it's fine. Then also I got this for my birthday off my mom. I mean, just the colors on it, gorgeous. And then I bought this and the second book early in the year. Still haven't gotten to them. And I don't know, I just love these covers. Again, not a big fan of the matte, but I love that. That's so beautiful. The very final question is, what books do you need to read before the end of the year? So many books, so many books. I mean, I could hold up literally every book I own, but I need to finish The Memory of Souls. That's number 1. I really want to read this because I've had it since January and I've been so tempted to read it so many times, but I've always put it off because I've had video ideas or something like that I needed to do. And the very last book I'm going to talk about is Ninth Reign, The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. I have to read it this month because it is the next book club pick for Cassidy's book club, which is the Backlist book club. I will leave her announcement when she was about her talking about our next pick. And yeah, so this is the next one. I don't know when the live show will be, but this is the next choice. So if you haven't gotten it yet, then reminder. So I do have to read this, and if I enjoy it, I will obviously be continuing the entire series. If I don't enjoy it, I'm not putting myself through reading more of them, and Cassidy has said that that is okay. So that brings us to the end of this video. I kept it pretty short and sweet, I think. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!